We're back together. It's Toffee TV. It's been a while, Baz.
It has, mate.
You know what? It's
You have to have a break, didn't we?
from each other. From me. The season review, I think, was the last time we actually. But you know what? We've kept it going, mate. We've kept it going well. We've done our holidays, doing the dailies, keeps us busy. We've kept it going, and we're back now for.
It's been a strain some days. It's been tenuous links, but
That's
they're
what
the
it's all
links. They're the links, aren't they?
So it stops people from trawling around the internet and, you know, getting lost in the internet. He's in. The man's in anyway. Ronald's in. The gaffer. His feet under the table. He's in the house, and we're settled now. Get on with it. Get on with the business of getting on with the business, as they say.
Just need this Euros out the way, don't we? Really, you know. Not that it'll stop.
I'm enjoying the Euros.
Oh no, the Euros are good, but I just mean from.
You're wishing your life away.
I'm not. I'm just talking. I just want to be fully Everton focused. But
I'm fully Everton focused.
He's in, and it's great to have that done, because let's be honest, it dragged on, didn't it? It dragged on.
It did and it didn't. It dragged, but it was like always happening.
I've got no. I think when I mean it dragged on, I think the problem was it got out probably before, like it does now, doesn't it? Things get out, don't they? But you know, it just seemed to be. Is it today? Is it today? If it would have been something where he's not likely to sign till he's back off his holiday, end of story, everyone would have gone, when's he back? And that would have been it. But it's done. He's in. We've had all the pictures, and it's great, isn't it? It
is great, and he's already, you know, he's tweeting, which is interesting.
How long will that last?
That's interesting. Saying that though, you know, he's got, you know, these verified accounts. You don't have to see anyone's. You don't have to see anything. You know, you can just tweet. You don't have to see anything anyone tweets you. That's the thing about having a verified account. Because you imagine, you know, you've got millions of followers, and like, you know, ping, your phone's got smoke coming out of it. No, you don't have to see any of that. So I don't think he has to worry about any of that. He's got his coach, assistant manager, and his brother Aaron, who's always been there, which is fantastic. He's got his fitness coach, which I think is massively important, Jan Klutenberg. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but I just like saying Klutenberg.
It is Klutenberg, yeah.
There you go, got it right.
Whether you have to put the Dutch spin on it every time.
It's not. That's not even full Dutch spin. It was the Jan Klutenberg, smoking the pancake.
There he is. Not that we know.
It's good that he's got them in, and he's got a solid team there. He's keeping Duncan Ferguson on board again. Fantastic. He spoke of him last week and said it's important to have these guys with a link to the past and have got the experience. And David Unsworth as well, which, no matter what you think about links to the past experience, he's doing a really good job.
Yeah.
So that's really important as well.
I think Unzi had to stay, most definitely. I think even more, I mean, I love Duncan anyway, but even more than Duncan, I would say, I would have suggested if it would have been a toss-up between the two, in terms of what they've done. Obviously, Unzi's done a great job, took the team the last game of the season, we all know how that worked out and everything else. And like you say, he's done a really good job, and he's the link, that's a valuable link between the 21s and the first team, which is obviously Ronald Koeman spoke about the youth, hasn't he?
But he can walk in and instantly go, he's ready, he's not ready for another year. Whereas if you brought someone new in, they've got to sit down with themselves and establish who's a good player, and then relate that information to Ronald Koeman. Whereas Ronald Koeman just walks in, and he already has a couple of fellas who, well, in Duncan Ferguson, he's got someone who can instantly tell him everything he needs to know about the first team. And
do you mean he'll be allowed to speak?
Allegedly, I don't know. But Duncan, what Duncan had to do is go, listen, he's sound, he's a good character, he's good, but he might need this, he might need that, you know, and that's really important as well. He's got that link. You know, he doesn't need to go, you know, because managers come in and they sit there, don't they, and they'll go, it'll take them 3 or 4 months to suss someone out. Is he one for me? What's he missing? He's not quite doing it on the pitch. Is there something missing? Duncan will be like, he for some, you know, whatever, Nias, he'll sort out the riddle that is Nias. You know what? You know, it's dead important.
It is important. So Duncan, it will be an important thing for them, and hopefully he's given more of a chance to coach, more of a chance to get involved.
In whatever guys that is.
Whatever it is. Obviously Koeman will have his own thing. He's got his brother there, Aaron, who he trusts, like you say, Jan Klutenberg. He is there giving it. So therefore, it is. I mean, a lot of times a manager will move clubs and everyone goes, don't they? And they bring in, as we see with the last manager, they bring in all of their own staff, and like you say, they know nothing.
Yeah.
So it's a fresh broom, and they know nothing. And sometimes you need that link. I mean, when we think of David Moyes when he went to Manchester United, he should have kept a couple of theirs to help with that transition, and he didn't, and that worked against him. It works against him with the fans and everything. So I think Koeman's got it. I think he's just about got it spot on.
Yeah.
On paper.
Because with Roberto Martinez, he did keep Alan Stubbs on for a while. But it was almost like, I'm not saying there was friction between them.
No.
Not at all. But Stubbs at the time had his eyes on the prize and wanted that, so you can imagine it was, and he brought Unsworth in, and Unsworth, it's weird the way it all worked out actually. But he was, as you just said, he brought in everyone, didn't he? You know, he got rid of the coach, he got rid of the fitness staff, and I think people underestimate how important having people there that you trust as well. Because I think one of the big things Roberto Martinez got wrong was getting rid of certain people at the club, fitness coaches, people that lads will work with every single day, and I'll just talk to them like they're mates without having to worry about.
You're the buff. They're the buff. Yeah. They're often the buffer. It might be
Kitman.
If you're there, sat there, and you've got, like you say, one of the physios or a, somewhat fitness fella, and you can say, like, this fella's getting on me there, and you know that he's not going to run back to the manager and go, should have heard what he was, they'll just go, under the buffer. If that's what happens. And I know we're talking about when Roberto Martinez come in and he kept, Alan Stubbs was still there underneath, but if you think of his actual team around the first team, they were all new, they were all Wigan.
They were all Wigan.
Now, I tweeted a picture last week, and you look and you see Ronald Koeman, you see Erwin Koeman, and you see the man in a white suit. It was incredible. Well, that a light suit, and they just looked amazing. And it's actually when you look at what Ronald Koeman's achieved, that's when you kind of go, right, okay, I can understand. Because I think both of us are quite open as that we wanted Unai Emery. I think it's probably our first choice. Yeah. Frank de Boer, I was excited by Frank de Boer. So have a go. Koeman was there within that. Any of them three, you're gonna be happy with. Ronald Koeman's come in. He was the number one after. I think they had the conversation with Jose Mourinho. They had to have the conversation with Jose Mourinho. Definitely. It would have been, for me, it would have been negligent. He's the best out there, and he wasn't fully attached at that time. They've gone after Koeman. They've wanted him, and I think, they've been unwavering in that. They've got him in. He's got his own people in, and all of a sudden, people, you look at your Klopp, Guardiola, Mourinho at United, and now Koeman at Everton. Yeah. And I said when me and Les done one briefly while you were away, he's probably, Howard Kendall was iconic for us because he was Howard Kendall and everything he achieved. Ronald Koeman's probably the most iconic Everton manager, certainly in our lifetime, who's ever been in the job. Think about it. In terms of world football, that's what I mean. He's a world figure. I don't mean trophies.
No, he's a world figure. I mean, you just Ronald Koeman. He's when I was growing up, mate, he was the man. You forget, he was the. I remember the 92. I remember the 92.
88.
Well, 88. I mean, 88 was not 88 and not my age then. I wasn't necessarily fixated on those kind of players. It was all Marco van Basten and Ruud Gullit for me. But when 92 come along and you had the Barcelona team who were called the Dream Team, they were called the Dream Team. That's how good they were. And you've got this fella who played at the back, and he smashes in a last minute goal to win Barcelona their first, European Cup, and it was a big moment, and then a couple of years later though, you've got the infamous moment when he played for Holland against England, and he pulls down one of the England players and doesn't get sent off, and all those things. This was an era when he's winning things, and Holland, the Dutch team were brilliant, and he was just a massive name, massive name. And I know what you're saying before about Frank de Boer, but the more I've thought about Frank de Boer and the more I've thought about Ronald Koeman, they are basically in the same player and manager in a way. But Ronald Koeman's got 10 years managerial experience, and 2 years in the Premier League, and that's what swayed me over, definitely over Frank de Boer, because I was still thinking Frank de Boer's still a risk.
He is a risk.
And I think with this fella, he'll listen. Whether he succeeds is up in the air. Not all managers, but he's certainly for me got more of the tools to succeed. He's not coming in blind.
I think I picked holes in every manager who was there. Unai Emery didn't win an away game last season.
Went to Russia and bombed.
It was terrible. No.
Yeah.
Move on. Pellegrini, who Everton met and were very unimpressed. I think it's come out.
Too great for me.
Well, it come.
No, I just mean generally in colour.
Well, it come out, didn't it? Apart whether you believe it or not, but apparently Farhad Moshiri just wasn't impressed by him at all. Other people who were on the market, you could pick holes in all of them, couldn't you? You could pick holes in Jose Mourinho. He's as close as you get to guaranteeing your trophies. He's as close as you get to destroying your club at some stage, because if he can't control that prickly elements of him, he's gonna cause uproar.
Yeah. I kept on mentioning Mourinho, and everyone, well, not everyone, certain people said to me, no youth team players. Monkeys. Do you know what I mean?
But Koeman's in and it's great now, and the excitement's kicking in. It is everything that's come out of his mouth. The press conference, I thought, I don't know about you, and watch your reaction video after it, but the amount of times he mentioned win in the press conference, and there was nothing. For me, there was no outlandish claims, and I also, and a lot of people probably won't like this, but I was also impressed with Bill Kenwright to the point that things have changed, but he didn't come out with any of that pathetic bloody panto crap. He's just in the press conference.
Not going on a tyrant. I think it almost feels like now that he's representing. Not saying he's representing someone else when he speaks, but I think he's got to be very mindful of what he says now, because we all remember, we all know the video. We all know Bill Kenwright saying, "What a manager," and that was what he felt in those moments. And he had.
But he did kind of say thank you to Roberto.
But I think what I mean is that we had Moshiri next to him, and I'm sure words. I don't know if words have been said. Words might have been just said to him by his missus or anything, and just go, "Don't forget, this is not yours anymore. You still own a big part of it, and you are part of it. But there's this other fella now." And I think
I remember saying to you at the time, though, didn't I? That's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. He can't go overboard because it's not his.
But the thing with Bill Kenwright is, and a lot of people won't like this, and I'm not waving the Bill Kenwright banner or whatever. That we've moved on from. Everton are moving forward. I said that, I've tweeted the other day, and it's a genuine feeling. I don't think I've been this excited about Everton for about 20 years. Not the team, just the way the club looks as though it's going. Right, but he's almost like, if he's going to be involved, he's almost in the perfect scenario now. Someone else is driving the bus, and he's just there to big up Everton.
Because
that's what. That's the word I'm looking for, and that is really.
Moshiri is just sitting there in the background, and that's where he wants to be.
Do you think we'll see him talk, or do you think he might?
I don't want it. I want it to be the mysterious man stroking the cat. I don't want him.
Imagine if he talked.
I think he's a very quiet sort of man who goes up.
Knows the business.
He's an accountant. He's the behind the man scene. Behind the scenes man. He just
behind the man scene.
He's the man who's he's behind the man. He's not here to. He's not even on the board. He's got his mate on the board. He's just sitting here from afar going, and that's it. You do this. You do that. You do the talk. He's not. It's boss. I love it. That's what I love about it. It's Bill now. I think the message, the penny might have dropped, and Bill's like, do you know what? And I think it's dropped in more than, I think some fans, hopefully if it continues, fans will come to realise that he's the front, he's the man saying things and at the press conferences and all that kind of thing, whereas Moshiri's in the background actually doing things. And I think that's what changed at the end of the season. I think that's what the golden change was when he got the sack. It was when Marnus got the sack, everyone just suddenly went, we know who's done that. We know who's driving. We know who's driving it now, and that's what it feels like so far this summer. And it's great. And
there's been an upturn in a lot of things, hasn't it?
Yeah,
subtle changes.
Well, what I was going to say then was also you saying he wins a lot.
Yeah.
I also feel like he's got a bit of a detachment as well, which I quite like, because I know we all like new manager, and you don't want to distance. You don't want to go, oh yeah, but But like, I've been asked the question today, like, what if in 2 years he's doing amazing, he goes to Barcelona? It's like, number one, that's in 2 years. But I remember we had a conversation after you know, the Roberto Martinez's first season, and we were saying we're worried because Barca are going to come and get this fella. But you know what? If Martinez had left after 3 years to Barcelona, that would have been a lot better than Martinez getting sacked after 3 years, wouldn't he?
Yeah, so, I think. Listen, Ronald Koeman, he possibly will move on in 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Because if Barcelona come knocking for him, then he's done all right by us, because it means we'll be doing very well. And then I'm like, you know, I remember that conversation with Martinez, because we knew that teams were sniffing around him, hence why he was given a big fat new contract.
Well, Everton were a little bit worried, weren't they?
Everton were worried, so they gave him a massive contract, which they didn't really want to give him at that time, but they did. And you know, we all know what that's.
We don't know what's happening.
Well, we all know how that's paying out 10 million.
We don't know what that's paying out.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, because I think a couple of years ago, even 12 months ago, the manager would have been the key element. Okay, so we've had David Moyes. He had no money, but he was very instrumental in how we done, because nothing else was happening. Yeah. So it was literally everything was in Moyes' palms. Now it's changed that much that it's not going to be, the manager's not going to be irrelevant, but he's almost going to be a second part of the structure now. It's going to be like, well, if he goes, we just get someone else in, because we've got this fella driving it who has got a vision and who wants to take us there. We've got the financial freedom, so it almost becomes, it'll be great to have him.
The other thing with that is, though, I think,
and listen, Everton, sorry, before you go on, all I'm going to say is Everton might be in a totally different place in 3 years.
That's what I was going to say. Sorry, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say was, in 3 years' time, I'm not saying he's going to have us. No. Listen, I'm not. Honestly, I'm not. I'm not sitting here thinking we're going to become Man City. I'm not by any means. Because I think some people think that, and I think some people think that we think we're gonna have all this money to spend. I'm not thinking that at all. In 3 years' time, someone might come in for Koeman, and they might be one of the biggest clubs in the world. And what can you do, player or manager? But you know, he might have us in a position where he's like, I'm loving this. I'm in charge. Well, things are going great. No, I'll stick around here. I've settled. Whichever way, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I'm like you are. I'm really positive. The way we got him was boss. How many people's heads fell off? We've had this. I think we had this conversation privately, and we've had this conversation to other people where people kept on saying, oh, it's all going tits up, and we're going to end up with Moyes. I was like, we're not, because we're going to end up with them. They'd already be at the club. I was always dead confident, and other people were like, oh shit, he's staying. Why? Who said he's staying? Well, he said. Well, when did he say that? In a press conference after the last game of the season. Yeah, that's why. And it was all that, and I was like, it's actually good that it's quiet.
I spoke to you the day before Norwich, and Koeman had been linked, because obviously Roberto had been sacked, and Koeman had been linked, and they were like, no, he's staying. Yeah. And I remember saying to you, don't listen to a word, because whether people like it or not, things get around.
People lie in football,
and things get around, and let's just say Everton were tipped off quite heavily around then by different people. It might have just been someone, but it was never over. And when people go, he's staying. It was never the case, as it's proved. And I think the biggest telling thing for me was when the journalist asked him in the press conference, how did it come around? He struggled to answer it. He was listening.
I was saying that last week on the reaction video. He
was trying to think, how can I get this out without saying
putting himself in the Everton in the
himself,
in the
his
business.
agent and everything else.
But
it's great.
It was done brilliantly, because they went after the man they wanted. They went and got him. They weren't settling for second best. There's a lot of money involved in his arse pocket, but also what he's been promised. And I know this 100 million keeps on getting touted about. It's ridiculous to just 100 million. It's like it is like Dr. Evil, isn't it? But it can be. It might be 100 million. It might be more. It might be just whatever he needs. And I think that's really important. I
think the reason why it's getting bandied about so much is because we haven't seen that, have we? We're the Premier League paupers, aren't we, so to speak, with the team that's got no money, with a team that has to sell our players to be able to bring in anybody else. So all of a sudden Everton have got financial freedom to a certain extent to be able. I mean, let's be honest, 100 million's massive, but in respect of football, it's actually not
4 players.
Thingy. Van Gaal spent about
4 Troy Deeney's. Yeah, there you go.
Why are you wrecking the video?
Troy Deeney.
But it's, you know, it's great. We've got the fitness coaches in it. That's massive for me, and it's the fella who he wants and trusts. That's a big thing. Everything he's said over the last few days, he seems to be right on board with the things. He's said a lot of positive things about the club, and everything seems to be. And I think the other key thing was he keeps talking about the project and what he was told, why he's come here, and you know, seeing Bill Kenwright saying, you know, Koeman asked them more questions than they asked him, and that's an important.
Well, it's in a way, it's a start, isn't it? It's starting again because it's there's money, it's Mashiri's now is basically his era. And he's starting again. And do you know what? He's not starting from a bad place, really.
I know let's not forget we've got a good squad.
We were crap last season, but we've got good players there. And for me, I think if we bought a goalie and no one else, I still think we'd finish in the European places. I think we've got good enough talent. But it's about, I suppose, what we've in the last couple of days is there seems to be now the summer players leaving, and there seems to be this. I don't know, this talk that he ain't letting them go without a fight. He ain't just letting people go. He's gonna, you know, he's got the power to keep them, and that's what he needs to do. He'll do.
I mean, I loved the thing when he asked him about Lukaku, and he said he needs to improve. You know, as a young player, he needs to improve. I don't think Roberto Martinez ever said that. I think Ron was given too much, lauded too much, like as almost we couldn't believe we got him. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think this era now with the new. Just the new way of looking at it, and obviously we know things are going on in the background, which again is exciting. Is that now it's a case of, listen, we're going somewhere and we want you to be part of that. You know, and it's a different club. And this is what I've done a couple of Southampton things with them, and they can't, and this is what some journalists, and it surprises me really, that they're looking at it from as if Everton is still Everton 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Everton have changed unbelievably in the last 6 weeks. But they've changed since Mashiri come in, and you can't look at it at the way it was. There was a lot of factors last season as to why Everton were pants. There was, and a lot of them things have changed, and the club will change.
Well, the other thing I wanted to mention before we move on, and we're going to be doing other videos on this, is the other thing is and we touched on it last week in the dailies, is the ground. I mean, we all know that we're looking to move ground. But we did that video just under a year ago now about Goodison Park. Those images are just well better than I ever imagined, because the shape, the design of the stadium's actually changing. You know, the parking getting on both sides is going to be the same.
It's like square,
and
isn't it, almost?
It's amazing, and you know, it's going to have the pitches on the outside. And I know a lot of people are like, well, what's the point? Or, you know, we're moving, and it's just like, well, for me there was a point 12 months ago, and it's the same point. It's to puff out your chest and go, this is a new image of the club. This is who we are. You know, we can't move. We're not moving just yet, and I'm sure there's a lot going on in the background. But for the time we've got a Goodison, it could be 3, it could be 5. You know, who knows how long it'll take. But Goodison is going to look amazing, hopefully, if it all pans out.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point in going, we want a new ground, so we'll just sit in here, leaving it as it is? If we're trying to, just little things like bringing players to it. You come down Goodison Road and there's holes in windows and it just looks tatty. You're trying to give this impression and perception. Football's all about perception. So if you drive up to Goodison and it's got those big things, you know, on view, the crests, and it looks a bit more modern. Goodison's great inside when you're in there. The wooden seats aren't great, and some of the toilets aren't great and everything else, but in that stadium when it's bouncing, it's a fantastic arena, isn't it, to play football in. We know we've got to move it, it's the way it is, but why not make the outside look as though things are changing? And that's what Mashiri's doing. We've got money.
But who's to say the inside isn't getting changed as well? Because you don't need planning permission.
No.
So little things like, you know, we've seen last season with the concourses getting done, or they're little things. But who's to say they don't start sort of? I know they can't make dramatic changes, but To be fair, the lounges are always dead smart. That's where the money is, obviously. So they keep them all. But I used to say, this sounds stupid, but all the wooden seats gone and replaced with like, you know, plastic ones. Stupid little things like that. You know, anything to improve. Anything to improve.
I'll be honest with you. You know, and I sit in a stand that's wood. You know, got wooden seats in and things like that. I'm not really that. It'd be great, but that doesn't really bother me. I'm more impressed with the outside of it because I know what I feel when I sit there and look at that stadium, look at the ground and the play. It doesn't really bother me. The other stuff, once I'm in my seat, it's great. But coming up to it outside, looking at it new and fresh, gives it a new energy, and it gives the club. For me, it just sends like a message out that we are beginning to move forward, and yet we will get this. Hopefully, we will get this new stadium on the docks that we'll be able to go to, and you know, it'll be fantastic and all that. But while we're playing in Goodison, we're going to make the best of it until we get there, because we are going forward and we're determined. And then it's press people coming, instead of coming up going, look at the state of this place now. They come up and go,
these mean business.
Fella means business.
These mean business.
They're not just sitting on their hands like
exactly. And also, other things as well. Like it's all, as you just said, it's all perception. You've got loads of sponsorship deals lapsing soon, or looking to be renewed. Obviously, all of them. You've got kit deals, everything. You know, kit deals get done a couple of years before. You know, I think the kit bag one's got like 2.5 or 3 years left on it, whatever it is. 2019 it finishes, so it's like 3 years, isn't it? So they'll be looking to renew that. So they'll be bringing people to the ground and going, this is. Now before, it's tatty, it's horrible, it's a bit, you know, run down, and people will be like, new shirt sponsor, like, we want a proper big shirt sponsor, right? Well, the new ground, right? Well, we've got this area on the ground that we can put your logo, and it can all be lit up. That'll all be, I'm sure that'll all be factored in. All these different people will be like, yeah, we can do this for you, we'll do that for you.
He's a businessman.
Exactly. That's what people think. Forget when they think of, they all see it as just like black and white. There's so many little things. It's about making. Don't forget, we sat there last season bemoaning the fact that we were watching this huge stand getting built in the background of Goodison. It was starting to take you know, you were starting to take your eye away from the match, which was quite easy. But now we can't replicate that, but if we can get a bit of pride back on our own ground.
Well, that's the thing, and who knows what them big square structures might actually block.
Yeah, that's what it might be for. That's what it might be for.
So we can't see.
They might have just sat in my seat and gone, yeah, we're going to close.
That's going. Oh, but it's all of that. It's all a sign. We all sat there.
It's going to have like a big sun on The Simpsons, a block thing, like
just blocks it off.
Just blocks the.
Well, that's the whole thing is about moving forward, isn't it? You've got to move forward. You're bringing people. Listen, we need. But if he wants to spend these wages on players that he's saying, or that's getting bandied about from some, and he wants to spend this money, we need to have creative sponsorship deals so we can push our wage. But we can't. We can only push it so high at the moment in its current climate. So we need other sponsors. The likes of Liverpool do very well. You've got Subway, Nivea, all of those little bits that drop in, pushes their wage, you build right up. That's what we need to do. This is a fella that's, you know, he's got other people wanting in. He's got a project, he's determined. He's not just come here and gone, I'll have a little bit of that. There's no need to. He was sat at Arsenal, making the money, and Arsenal, a fantastic example. Doesn't have to do anything there, but he didn't want that.
He's got a vision, hasn't he?
His project, Ken might have alluded to it, even. He's got that. I mean, the other thing I've said before, I haven't ran it by you, but no, because I said it with Les.
Are we running club issues right by me now?
About the Koeman thing. Yeah. And I just wondered how much he's been privy to conversations at Arsenal who've got an eye on Koeman and with the Wenger thing, and thought, I'll steal a march on these.
Maybe.
While it's my club, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe his mate Alex
has gone. It's all dead. It's all dead exciting. It's all dead productive.
It mightn't get any more. This might be the most exciting.
I mean, man, the first game of the season, playing Spurs. You've
Streetman, Suarez,
Streetman will be injured. But you know, you've got listen, a lot of people are not. I mean, I go past Goodison. I could go past Goodison 10 times a day sometimes. Some people, the only time they get there is a match day. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes they don't even see it. You know, and I think you turn up for that Tottenham game, you've got the new manager, and you've got some new players, and you know, you walk up to Goodison and you just go, wow, you know, it's a new Goodison, it's a new site. The excitement of that'll just be
this period now it might never get this good
any
again.
better.
No, but because no, but if you think about it, we're dealing at the moment in all unknowns, aren't we?
Yeah.
We've got an unknown owner, so to speak, who we don't know what he's going to spend. We've got a new manager coming in. We don't know what kind. He hasn't bought a player yet, so we don't know what kind of player. We're all playing the guessing game. Will he bring in this keep? So it's very, very exciting.
And it's really, really nice. I mean, it's just really good to be going into a new season with all these different things to excite you. Just all these different. Whereas last season going to match was just a chore. Whereas this season, there's new man. I can't wait to see what Goodison's going. I can't wait to see.
It's all of
transform Goodison.
All of those things, and you look and you just think. That's when you stop and you realise. And this is what I was trying to say before. Even like after the Martinez's first season, when we just missed out on the Champions League, so to speak, we had a good, exciting side, and it was. Yeah, we've got a good team, and then that pre-season was dreadful, and we'd done a Leicester preview, and it was like, he's not fit, and he's not fit.
But it was like...
But even with that, that team, say, was exciting, so you were excited by the team, but there was almost like the infinite, that was as good as it was going to get.
Also, we bought players that we already had, so it was like, yeah, we bought Romelu Lukaku. That's bosh, but we've had one. We've got Gareth Barry. Yeah, we've had him for a year. It was almost like anything good we already knew, so there was nothing exciting.
And but further than that, there was the club didn't seem to be going anywhere. The peak of what it was going to be was just on the pitch.
Yeah.
And how good could they really be? Could they get that Champions League to get us that extra 20 million to be able to buy a midfielder? You know what I mean? Whereas now you look and go, yeah, that extra 20 million with Farhad will just go up the top pocket and give it there. But you've got things that are moving. What I mean is the club itself for me, for the first time in a long time, seems to
definitely
be moving forward.
Right, tell us what you think in the comments. We're going to be doing a couple more videos, I think, on this subject. Cutting them all up so they're not too time consuming for you. Make sure to check them all out. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll catch you soon on Toffee TV.